Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm LaWanda.
I'm Tiffany.
Of course, I'm Ron.
I'm Jay.
And Ron's got his basketball. I think that's in honor of today's episode.
Love my basketball. Mwah.
You guys, Ron has been talking about Zeke not been touching the basketball since the start of the season. We haven't seen him with the ball yet. So this episode, we finally got to see something. And you know what? I think, Ron, you made something for this, right?
Yeah, we'll get to that though. But it's all in fun. But hey, you gotta love your basketball. That's all. You gotta love it. I love my basketball.
All right, guys. Well, if you hang tight, we'll be right back with you.
Baby, I know where the last one burned you. Know that ain't cool. Wanna show you how I'm nothing like him. Swear that's the truth. You can't trust.
All right, everyone, we are back. This week we are talking about PowerBook 2. This is season 1, episode 8. And it looks like it's a lot of stuff going on with the families this episode. First of all, what's that?
Family first.
Yes, that's the title of the episode. And a lot of families are on campus at Stansfield for homecoming week. And it's like a lot of people popping up on campus that you wouldn't normally see there. So it looks like Effie has made her debut back into this season. And we talked about this a little bit last week, and Tariq and all his options, and we mentioned Effie, and so it was right on time to see her this episode coming back on the scene to sell some drugs and reap the benefits of homecoming week and everybody's parents stressing them out.
Well, personally, I love Effie, and there's a couple of reasons I like her more than anybody else. For one thing, she's street, she's smart. The only thing we got to control is that hot head. She's got to understand the game she's in, and well, she understands the game, but I think she's got to give them a little breathing room if they're going to be successful. But for my pick, it's Effie. Besides, she's fine too.
Well, yeah, and we talked about how she's like the perfect balance between the street life and the campus life. She's like the perfect blend for Tariq, whereas like Diana and Lauren, it's either, I think Courtney Kemp mentioned this, one is too hot, one is too cold. But Effie, she's like just right.
Yeah. And
you seen that little interaction that Effie and Lauren had, which is like, oh, you big mad, huh? And I'm like, Effie got a lot. She's spicy. But I do like her a lot. And I think even when she and Tariq were getting ready to have their moment, how she lifted up his shirt and ended up seeing his gun. And she's like, oh, don't worry, I got mine too. So I'm like, look, they just bonding over their weapons and stuff. I'm like, she is right up his alley.
mm-hmm.
I was just like, for one, Lauren just jumped to conclusions, but I guess she was right. I didn't think it wasn't heading there at first. So I think she exited the room a little bit too quickly, but that was to her detriment because he ended up with Effie.
You don't need to do it. No, go ahead.
Well, I think it's because she already saw Tariq with Diana.
Yeah.
And then now here comes another chick. So she probably like, this dude is a player. Right. That's probably the first thing she thought.
Yeah, but when you say that, when she saw him, she really didn't see anything, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah, so it's still like she's jumping to conclusions, but I'm back to what Tiara said. They had their moment, and I was just like, I'm not ready. I still wasn't ready for this.
Right.
Me neither. I was like, I'm glad they ain't show it all. I still look at Tariq as being a kid. I know in real life, Michael Rainey Jr. is 20, but he's still like a kid to me. And I don't want to see that.
Look, Mom, y'all gotta cut it. Because when a dude go to school, it's all over.
Oh, I know. And that's what I said. They showed part of it. They ain't show they ain't give us an Amari scene. Now, Amari scene, I was always here for. Yeah. But I don't want to see Tariq doing that.
Yeah, we don't need to see no cheeks or nothing on screen. Save the nudity.
But he was smiling from ear to ear, though.
Yeah.
What were you about to say, Jason?
I said, no, I agree wholeheartedly. No, I don't want no parts of that. They keep that right. Exactly what they did. They took the shirt off and they went, away from it. I was good with it.
But see, I know why Tiffany loves the Amari scenes. I'm not even going to go into that tonight. But there's a whole good reason why she loves the Amari.
I mean, They grown. That's grown folks' business. With Omari and Tasha and all of them, that's grown. I still look at Tariq and them as kids. So it's difficult to see him in that light.
Good cleanup.
Yeah.
Good cleanup.
Now, the next thing I wanted to bring up about this whole Tariq and Effie situation is I think it's going to present a problem, and it already has for him and Brayden. First of all, because Brayden had a crush on Effie, previously. So there's a little tension there. But then the fact that Tariq has been selling drugs with Effie behind his back was a whole nother problem for him. And later on in the episode, they had that conversation where Brayden pretty much was like, nah, bro, like we're not working the app no more. You betrayed me. What do you think about this situation if they can work through it? Do you think Effie, Brayden, and Tariq will be a good team?
I think
Ghost and Tommy all over again.
Yeah.
Tariq leaving them in the dark.
Well,
yeah.
And another thing with Tariq, you're either going to be upfront with Brayden completely, or you're going to just leave him alone, because he talks too much. And then he's a hothead and he doesn't understand. So when he finds out that Effie and Tariq are selling on campus coke on campus, he goes off. You can't afford that. You just can't afford it. And one of the things that Tariq said in the very beginning, which I thought made a lot of sense, look, coke is their thing, pills and whatever is ours. Stay in your lane. That makes a lot of sense when you're trying to establish something. But, but if you're going to get into the game of selling coke, you got to let your partner know. Because with Brayden is just, he can flick off and just ruin the whole thing in a moment's notice.
Yeah. Well, Tariq was in a tight spot too, though.
I'm wondering how long 2Bit's going to be able to the pressure on him, because I'll be honest with you, I was wondering if he was going to try to kill him that episode, because I think he might as well go for it, because that's how it's no way he could. It's not sustainable that he can take that pressure from 2Bit and try to deal with all the other things that's going against him. I don't see how he's going to be able to take care of that.
Well, I agree.
But 2Bit doesn't even know who he's up against. He doesn't know who Tariq is mixing with right now. So he's thinking Tariq is out here doing his little college thing, not knowing that he has Monet's backing. And so 2Bit is going to be in for a rude awakening should he try to, mess up what Monet and them have going on, because Tariq is a cash cow for them right now.
Yeah, but they don't hustle anymore either, though. Kane would have been the guy to deal with 2Bit. The rest of them can't handle 2Bit. So I don't know if there's muscle enough to deal with 2Bit on that end right now.
Drew might be the one.
I was about to say.
Drew got it in him.
Hey, yeah, he did
Drew
show.
Drew got it for himself. I don't know that Drew's going to do all of that for Tariq.
But here's the thing. I think Francis knows. He may know just streetwise who Monet is. And it might behoove Tariq to let him know, hey, you're not just messing with me. You're messing with, Monet. So he's got to get Francis off his back.
My son got a theory for that. He said, and I kind of go, I kind of can go with this. He believes that 2Bits is gonna start working with Tariq. That Tariq gonna find a way to bring 2Bits in, and he can use 2Bits as the muscle, because 2Bits is trying to get back on his feet and start, slinging and stuff. Tariq already has an operation, so Tariq can just say like, "Hey, I can break you off. I can cut you in on what I got going on."
Sounds good. It sounds good, but I think 2Bit he wants to be kingpin, and I don't know if you can trust him. So you can bring him in, but you're gonna have a problem with 2Bit from day one to the end.
And I don't think Monet would take too kindly to him just like bringing strays into their operation. Like they already had a problem with Brayden being a part of it.
Exactly.
And he has a whole angle going on with Spank's mother. We don't even know what that is yet, because whenever he's doing Spank's mother wasn't as simple and cut and dry as him just giving her money. If you looked at his face, he has something going on, like he's trying to get something out of her.
Yeah, and shout out to Lunel. I like seeing her. But yeah, I definitely feel like there's something up there, because 2Bit, he's very intentional in a lot of stuff that he does. So I feel like that wasn't for no reason. And I know that Spank and he were like real cool. They were basically like best friends. And so like paying the respects to his mother, okay, cool. But 2Bit was kind of a part of the reason why Tommy found out about him snitching. So
he was.
His hands are dirty.
But I think that was him protecting himself and his street credibility, right? Trying to make sure that nobody suspects that he was the one.
I agree. That's what I think. I think he was playing the part. And of course, because he was close with Two Bits, with Spanky, he probably want to look out for the mom too,
Yeah, he did.
Because that was his boy.
But to your point though, Tiffany, I think, it was good that Two Bits was around to save your boy Tariq. So one or two things is going to have to happen. Either he's going to have to hire him as muscle, or that boy got to learn to fight. Because, I
was thinking the same thing. I was like, those of them could have put him in karate.
Yeah.
I said he was so sheltered or whatever. And I get that they were trying to keep him away from the streets, but I was like, dang, they could have put Tariq in karate or something. Because I was like,
because the boy Bars, he's kind of skinny. He didn't look like he had a lot of weight to him. I'm like, Tariq is a little bit thicker and has more body mass. He looked like Tariq should have been able to throw his weight with that guy. So there's no reason why he should have had the upper hand.
If you're in the street, you will get mopped up. I don't care how big or small you are, you don't know what you're doing. I see that happen. I see big dudes get dropped many times. I see muscle.
Size ain't got nothing to do with it. It's the dog in the fight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that whole plan with Kane sending the guy Bars to attack Tariq and kill him really just backfired on him. And not only did it have repercussions for him, but also for the rest of the family, because we later seen how Guap came back to try to attack Zeke. So that was a huge blowout from that situation. And had Drew not stepped in, it really could have went left. And I think that we talked about this previously on another episode, but we were saying how, Zeke, basically them keeping him out of the street life, that was their backup plan in case things don't work out. And Monet basically confirmed that this episode. And so with Kane, he's doing a lot of stuff that, we keep talking about this every week. He doesn't understand the consequences of all of his actions. And it keeps messing up what everybody else has going on.
And he keeps putting the family at risk. His exposure is just too many. It's just exposing them in ways that, you would think if he grew up in his family, he knows how important it is for them to keep their activities under the radar. And he's just doing everything to blow up the spot.
He's 50 Cent. He's 50 Cent revisited. So I see exactly where this is going with Kane, because now, he's out there on his own. He can do whatever he wants to do. So,
I told you, I said he was going to branch off and start his own operation as much as he could. Anyway. Yeah. It was obvious that's what he was splintering the character to do, because he's going to end up having to go against his family. And the way that Monet didn't even come to the door, that she sent Diana with the money, like, go ahead, get out of here, get moving. It's a telling thing that that he's going to war with them. And Monet, when she approached Tariq, she said, "Look, if he comes for you and it ends up when you guys are in the thick of it, if you kill him, it is what it is. But don't go after him. Don't set him up in any kind of way. I'm gonna kill you." So it's he's definitely outside the family at that point. She's already accepted that. Listen, he's not good for business and he's not good for family. So whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
But personally, I think I'd rather be the hunter than the hunted. So, you always watching your back. No. We're going to, if there's a problem, we got to get this over with quick.
Yeah, but he can't do it. He doesn't have the muscle to pull it off. He can't kill Kane and then walk the streets. And so
sick as road dog on him, like I'm saying, Two Bits has a point. I mean, he has a valid place here, somehow or another, get with Two Bits and let Two Bits take care of it. Because, hey, I think Two Bits, he'd love to do it.
Well, look, it just confirms what Lorenzo was saying all along. At first Monet was saying like, hey, I'm the one out here. I know these kids and stuff. But Lorenzo said it way back when. He was like, Drew should be the one.
Right.
Kane is too unpredictable. So he knew his son.
Right.
Yeah.
He saw it coming.
Right.
Yeah, and I was just about to mention that too, because now Lorenzo knows what Kane has done. And so that's an even bigger problem for him. Because, you know, Tasha made that phone call and was like, look, don't come for what's mine or else I will find a way. That was like one of my favorite moments of the episode. She's like, I will find a way to, you know, hurt yours.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And I was just like, the fact that Lorenzo knows this now and he's seeing that Kane is like so unhinged that, you know, I'm getting a call from Tasha now. Like, okay, he's out of control. He has to be cut off. So
he put hands on his mom.
Yeah, and even with his new little operation that he's trying to start up on the side, he's always going to have to clash with Lorenzo because that's his direct competition now.
That is true.
And even from the perspective, like where Monet was talking to Drew, and she was saying, like, I liked how she figured out that Drew was covering for Kane, and she was like, you know, she basically peeped game, and she was like, I see it clearly now. And so I thought that was like a really cute moment because Drew has taken a lot of he's the underdog in the family, I think. And so now that he's actually being recognized for like his strength and his strategy, you know, everything that Kane doesn't show. So I like that he's getting that recognition in the family as being somebody that is capable, even though they, you know, they try to call him the sissy or, you know, whatever. He has definitely been stepping his game up each and every week.
Well,
in this episode, he reminded me of Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of my favorite aspects about that point is that Drew showed his sexual proclivity has nothing to do with his ability to think, react, and take charge of a situation that could have gone left and been very detrimental. So I think, you know, kudos for that, you know, because, you know, sometimes we think people can't do something because of who they are. But I think he showed clearly that what he holds dear to his heart has got nothing to do with what, you know, he has to take care of in the street.
Well, he might have scared his boo off though, because after he seen Guap get that beating, he was like, I don't know if I'm about this life.
Well, you know,
he's not.
And you know what?
Team got that is thinking that now.
And Wap, you know, so A, Wap deserved it. B, if his boy can't handle it, then his boy got to walk. Got to move on. And you know, Wap, man, I was so sorry to see Kane spare him. Now, I'm thinking, okay, Kane thinks he needs him. And maybe, but how are you going to trust somebody that's going to come at you like that?
Especially after Guap, with the conversation that they were having prior to Kane entering was, we need to kill the whole Tejada family, Kane and everybody else too. So I'm like, you can force him into a bad spot and make him listen to you temporarily, but ultimately he's still your enemy.
He is. Kane took his killed his soldiers, and ultimately he's scared of Kane too. But one of the things that I thought about with Drew, like when Drew popped up at the club, I was like, boy, Drew is looking real thirsty. You know, I was like, Drew is being real thirsty, but his thirstiness paid off, because if Drew wasn't there, you know, exactly. Zeke would have got it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so even down to Zeke. So he even looked a little he was basically coming off of a high. This was his first game that, like we said, we've seen him touch the ball all season. So Ron, you got something for this, right?
Yeah, I got a little something. Stay right there for a second.
That was
cute.
Hey,
that was cute.
Look,
yeah.
You know what? That hit me last night. And, you know, I was dead asleep. And I woke up and I said, you know, I got to pay homage to that boy touching that ball like that. So, you know, I just had to put it. It's short, cute, but hey, that's all it is. Just fun.
Whatever it takes to get him on the court and put his hands on that ball.
Now, don't come
right, the moment we've all been waiting for.
Right. And I hope you like black panties, because that's, you know, hey, that's what I put on the ball. So.
Well, it looks like Zeke is still trying to holler at Carrie and get into her panties. He's popping up in the office, calling her by her first name. Even, you know, Monet now knows. I think Monet definitely senses that something is up, because when she ran into them talking, she was side-eyeing the heck out of Carrie. So he better watch it.
tell you every week, she's dumb as rocks. I think the character is just getting worse by the week. I mean, they didn't do a lot of interaction with them, but it was enough for you to say she's a Nimrod. I mean, her and Jabari.
Oh, Jabari is the
We're
worst.
gonna get to Jabari. He's off the chain.
Yeah, Jabari. But you know, it goes back to something we said much earlier in one of the episodes, how all this, you know, can turn south real quick, because now Jabari, you know, has some idea of what Tariq might be doing. You know, now I don't know if he's smart enough to see that bag switch and then understand what's really going on.
He saw it.
Yeah. No, he saw the type. If you saw what he was typing to Carrie, he was telling her, "Be careful."
Yeah,
and then he realized, I need him for my book. I can't blow a spot up.
Right. And see, that's a problem. That
and I'm looking forward to that person. So we will see how that works out.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get bodied.
He's
a hater too. He's a hater. And I'm just like, how are you jealous of this kid? Like this thing that he had for Tariq. And he was just like
break the pencil when
he was like, he real insecure.
This is an obsession he had. And somebody better control that, because I don't know where he's going. That, you know, he's almost lost his mind over this, you know.
I think his character is super extreme. I think that it's weird that, okay, I can understand him taking the storyline of what Tariq had, but the fact that he can't get a couple of lines out without following every move of this man's life, it doesn't really explore a writer, like write your first novel or anything else if you can't write a line. It's like
how about even close your novel? I mean, the dude gave him 2 or 3 examples of what he could use to close.
Right. He could pick anything. Yo, give me that one. I'll take them too. Like,
I think that has to do with him saying that Carrie was his muse, and he really needed her in that relationship, because that's kind of what helped him write the first book. And so he's using that as an excuse. Yeah, using that as an excuse for him not to write this book, and basically to justify plagiarizing Tariq's work.
Exactly.
A complete hack. It's like there's absolutely no author in him at all.
Yeah.
If all he's doing is recounting. And it seems like you said, with Carrie's like he recounted that thing. He wrote the second book and it was trash. Now he's back with this third book and he can't get to another chapter. As a writer, I mean, we all have dabbled in writing, and you know that, listen, okay, you might get stuck, you might get writer's block, but it's a whole nother thing when you can't even come up with a chapter on your own. It's like all he's doing is writing the news.
He couldn't even come up with a paragraph.
Yeah. Right. And the thing that I know for a fact Jabari does not understand the totality of what he's bringing against himself. But I was trying to think about it too, because he was talking with the publisher about a book about a drug dealing family. And then I'm like, well, hold up, which drug dealing family is he talking about? Is he talking about the St. Patrick's, or is he talking about the Tejadas, or a combination of both? Because it looked like he was definitely doing research on Ghost and Raina and Angela. But then you also seen him listening in on Drew's conversation about the Tejadas, and then Course Correct, he downloaded the app. And so I'm like, if he's writing about both families, he's going to feel the fire double, because, you know, we have Stephen Ott with the DNC who is trying to protect Ghost's legacy and not reveal all of his dealings. But then on the other side, you have Lorenzo and his family, and they're still alive and well and can very much so come for your neck.
But you know, I think it's almost, when you really think about it, Jabari is taking a leap, right? He's taking Tariq's work. He's making assumptions based on what he's heard about Tariq, even though it happens to be true. And that's what's going to get him in trouble, is him taking that, almost taking that leap without necessarily having evidence at first. Because at first he was just basically taking Tariq's works and making this assumption that based on what he's seen in the news, that this must be this kid's life. Mm-hmm. And so when you think about that, it's kind of like these characters, they all kind of do that. They kind of all just jump to conclusions and kind of run with it without really thinking about the ramifications of what they're doing. They're all kind of hapless in that way.
I just expect more from a writer. I mean, you know, he's just
a writer, a professor, someone who's older and adult.
Because it looks like he's just cutting and pasting. He sees something, he brings it over. He sees it, he's not.
It's just weird though. Who do you know that's going to school and written regular papers that couldn't at least do a chapter of a book? It's just the weirdest thing to have an author that has no writing skills at all. He's like, everything is like you said, is just recounting, and it's not. I can understand like he's putting it in his own words, but I mean that means he has zero creativity whatsoever.
Right.
Like,
no inspiration.
Plagiarized the first book. You know
yeah, that's true.
And I can already see where this is about to head, because now that he's downloaded that course correct, I think next episode we're gonna see him trying to figure what it's all about. He's gonna order a study guide and see the drugs in it, and then he's gonna go down that rabbit hole and end up blowing up somebody's spot and getting off. I can totally see, it being big news on campus that a professor was murdered.
Yeah.
Did you see the previews with Carrie? It looked like she was looking up. I don't know if she was reading his manuscript or she was looking online about, Tariq's family and stuff. And she was like, so I think that she's going to see some stuff too.
She was looking up the Tejadas because it was an image of Lorenzo going to jail.
Yeah.
And, also, our boy Laz Alonso, he makes an appearance next week as a lawyer, and he's basically talking about a gangbanger who was murdered by somebody skilled enough to make it look like an accident. So I think he's going to be talking about the boy Bars who was murdered at the pool.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Also,
I don't know who he's arguing on behalf of.
Zeke went to her crying, so Zeke is telling her stuff. That's probably what she's looking up. That's probably why she's looking. I think
that's true.
He'll probably make a connection with Jabari probably the final episode. If I had to say what that looked like now, he came there, can I come in crying? He's gonna tell her, he's gonna spill his soul because he ain't got the common sense God give a billy goat, and he's gonna pass along that bad information, and she's gonna get involved in it, unintentionally probably.
I think he's so hell bent on Tariq and Carrie that he's going to try to slip. I think in one of the episodes, maybe the next one, he'll probably say something to Carrie about Tariq's exploits on campus with drugs. And I'm sure he'll mention that in some way because he's so hell bent on trying to get information on the two of them and, their sexual exploits, even though they don't exist. He's just making all kind of moves that just he'll wind up in a box after, if he keeps this up.
Well, he doesn't want that because at the end of the day, he still needs Tariq. That's why he didn't finish that text. He needs Tariq to finish that novel, else he's toast anyway.
But he's going about it the wrong way. I'm sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying he's going about it the wrong way because I think this infatuation and maybe greater than that he has with Carrie, he'll start talking.
I think that Carrie's getting the story from Zeke, like you said, and I think she might be thinking that she's like the only one that knows about this situation right now. But once that manuscript that Jabari's writing comes across her table, she's going to realize like, okay, so he knows about this too, and not only does he know, but he's writing about it and trying to make it public. So I think that Carrie is also going to be somebody that intervenes on not only Zeke's behalf, but Tariq and the rest of that family's behalf, because Zeke is obviously going to tell her, what he's up against in that family. Especially, like, he looked so frazzled when he showed up at her doorstep. So it's very clear that he's shaken and that she's somebody that he trusts. So I think he's going to spill his guts to her, like you said.
He's going to be pillow talking all night.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny, though, because they tried to keep him out of the life. So I'm just interested in understanding all of what Zeke knows, because so much has been shielded from him. So I wonder if he's just taking bits and pieces like everybody else, making assumptions.
Right. I don't think he knows everything.
Well, he doesn't know everything, but I think he got a big chunk of what might be going on after that beat down on WAP. So, I'm sure he'll start putting two and two together, and he'll probably go to his mom and ask what the G's, not his mom, but
I think he knows. He doesn't know details. He's not in the business,
Right.
He knows because his
hands are not dirty. But
he kept making those things about the dinner party and stuff. You can't go to the dinner party, and so he knows that they got some things going on. I just don't think he knew the extent, and not just the extent. I think his career flashed before him. I mean, the guy had the gun leg. he saw his whole career getting ready to go down the drain. That's what I got from that more than anything. He saw how close he came to the fire, and that's what scared him. It wasn't. Yeah. He knows his family is crooks. He just was like, I thought I was far enough from it to never come that close to me. And when it did, I think it shook him because he saw his life flash before him, and definitely saw his career because my man said this will hurt him more. We all thought the same thing. Okay, he's gonna blow this leg off real quick, and that's the end of the game.
It'll be interesting.
You know what confused me? It exposed him. Now his teammates know that aspect of his life, and they want to wear that. And because the whole idea is he's trying to go to first round, so he wanted to make sure that his image was clean. You don't want any hint or any talk, any whispers around him.
It confused me a little bit until I thought about it, because I'm like, why was Zeke so upset with Drew for defending him and basically jumping in on his behalf? Drew was like, don't hurt him. If you're gonna do anything, do it to me. And
I think it was the family. Yeah, I think it was just that the family. Like, look what y'all brought on me. Like, this is it's because of y'all that this is happening to me. That's what I took from that.
And so after I thought about it, I was like, okay, I thought he was trying to say, like, I didn't necessarily want you to make me look like a punk, like I couldn't handle myself. But then I thought about it, and I was like, I don't think that was it. I think it's the fact that he thinks that Drew brought this kind of attention on him, and that's what you were saying.
Well, let's get real. You couldn't take care of yourself. You were getting a beating. That's number one. And then number two, I think with Drew, he just didn't see that side in him. He was probably more shocked at Drew being able to handle himself and had that sense of criminality in him. He could see that now, and I believe that he just didn't see that coming from Drew.
It was pure rage.
Yeah, exactly. Because Drew was beating him. I mean, Drew was about to kill that boy.
Listen, I wasn't mad at Drew, but I'm sorry. I was like, okay, I'm feeling Drew, because you mess with the family. Yeah, you asking for it. Right. And one of the other things I was going to say to Jason's point when we was talking about Jabari following Tariq, I think one of the reasons why he held back from texting Carrie, because the first thing she would have asked was, how do you know? Right. Like if Tariq is in it, that would expose him as following Tariq around and stuff, So I think that was another reason why he deleted that text.
Hey, but let me ask a question real quick, because I think I saw something in Tariq, and I want to make sure I did, but I saw something in him about his street knowledge, because when he first saw, what was the boy's name? That tried to kill him?
The shoes.
Yeah, he looked at
Bars,
the shoes. And I'm thinking he was thinking, nah, these folk up here too rich to be wearing some little crapped out shoes like these. And and that whatever that was, it clicked in him and said, okay, this boy don't mix. Because he
before I go, I got a jet spotters. I got to leave early, but before I go, I want to say, but you remember Ghost had that same thing about those red shoes. That's the person that was trying to kill him. Remember?
Yeah. Pink sneakers. Pink sneakers.
Yeah, it was.
So you think it's homage to that from last? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Homage to Ghost in general, because Ghost was always observant. Like Ghost was always aware of his surroundings and stuff. He would size things up real quick and stuff. And you see that with Tariq. Like Tariq peeps game. And then one thing I was saying to my son, I was like, Tariq, like Ghost, he keeps a poker face too. Because even when he came back after dude got killed, like he sat down, he looked at Monet and them, but he kept it G. I was like, look at Tariq. I said, that is Ghost.
I'm like, nothing happened.
Yeah.
All right, LaWanda, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Take care, LaWanda.
But the last thing that I wanted to mention though is, so how do you guys think this works out for Kane? Because he told Drew that he would kill Guap, and that was basically like their deal. Like, I'm going to cover for you, and I'm going to take the blame for what you did, but in exchange, you need to get rid of him. So the fact that, and I think Courtney mentioned this after the show, and she was saying Kane made a decision to look out for himself versus looking out for his family. So how do you think that's going to work for him, having an enemy on his team? And not only that, it looks like next week, the first glimpse we get of next episode is him chopping up some bodies or something like that. So it looks like he's getting into deeper and deeper trouble.
Well, he no longer has a team because his family was the team. Right. So he had to build an alliance with somebody. So, you know, it made sense. I mean, what's it called? Guap was the only one. And I think being rejected by your parents, you know, that sent him off the edge.
Well, he was definitely rejected by the parents, and Diana kind of like reluctantly sent him away with the money. You know, she's basically just following orders, but he does still have like a soft spot from his siblings. Like Diana really she looked hurt to do something like that. And then Drew was trying to cover for him. So he still has the allegiance of his siblings, kind of. So I feel like he just went off the deep end by making that alliance with Guap instead of trying to work with his family who he can actually trust, you know, his siblings.
Well, I think that was the reason.
Pushed out. You gotta remember, he said you already replaced me with Tariq, so he already felt
exactly.
Before Monet even officially kicked him out the family, he already felt like that was already
happening. Yeah,
he felt that was just the official notice when Diana gave him the money and all of that. But if you look at what he was saying to Drew, he said it was already in play. So you know, I don't think that it's anything new. I think, look, like I said, Kane is a loose cannon. It was bound to be where he's at right now because he's a lunatic. So I think that it just was no way around it. He had national emotion tied to it. Everything that he did was, like I said, completely erratic and completely emotional. And so all his moves are going to be predicated on that. He's never going to make a move of strategy because that's just not what that character is based on.
Well, he'll be short-lived because I'm saying, you know, you can't think that Muscle is going to run a business. That's not what Muscle is for. And you know, it'll be very interesting to see him try to build something out there by himself and thinking that all he has to do is just, you know, shoot, kill, destroy, whatever. That's not the way that kind of business needs to be run. There's a place for it, but that can't be mainstream. And I don't think he is smart enough to be able to understand or know anything differently.
Sonny Corleone. You know, Sonny Corleone was, you know, he was all hot-headed.
Yeah, right.
Michael was all strategy. And that's the same ideology that I apply to Kane, is that it's all brute force. It's none of it is let me think this through. It's like he's a reaction guy. Everything's a reaction. None of it is proactive. Everything is reactive, and that's
Tommy. Yeah, that's how Tommy used to be.
Well, you know, I still say maybe the smartest thing he's done so far is to keep WAP alive. And only time will tell if that holds true.
That might it kills him. We'll
I agree.
Yeah.
But like you said, Tiara, I think WAP is more afraid of him than anything else, but time will tell.
Yeah. Okay. Do you guys have any other comments you want to add before we close out?
Nope.
Good.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please go into the comment section and let us know what you thought about this episode and give us your predictions for next week. Also, please make sure that you subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so that you get alerted every time we post. We are also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Spot Real Talk. Next week, we will be back for episode 9. And then we got to do something big for the season finale. We got to think something up. So you guys definitely make sure you stick around with us. And of course, we'll start taking your suggestions for shows that you want recapped next. There's a lot of good ones coming back, so start thinking about them. So you guys come back next week. We'll see you for episode 9. Have a good night. Thank you.
And my eyes down. Shawty, now you know what this is like now. Now I got a big drop top and I'm rolling. And I told my girl I'ma be up till the morning. Feeling like I'm 2-3 cause you know I'm zoning. Shawty got a wave, we been chilling by the ocean. Now I got a big drop top and I'm rolling. And I told my girl I'ma be up till the morning. Feeling like I'm 2-3 cause you know I'm zoning. Shawty got a wave, we been chilling by the ocean. I told her my way, what can I say?